Welcome back to our channel Valuable Coins History today. We're diving into the history of the 1980 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. From its iconic platypus design to its copper-nickel composition, and the fascinating stories told by its worn and dirty surfaces, this coin is more than just pocket change. It's a true piece of Australia's numismatic heritage. Top 4 first up. The 1980 Australian 20-cent coin is a fascinating piece of numismatic history, especially for collectors who take interest in circulating coins with unique conditions such as dirty coins that show natural signs of wear, discoloration, or patina from decades of use. This coin was part of the regular circulating currency in Australia, struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. Its design continued the trend of decimal coins first introduced in 1966, when Australia moved away from the pounds, shillings, and pence system and embraced a decimal monetary system. The obverse of the 1980 20-cent coin features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor whose effigy of the Queen appeared on many Commonwealth coins. This portrait, characterized by a serene and regal depiction of the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, was used from 1966 until the mid-1980s. Coins like the 1980 issue thus carry this distinct royal image, making them instantly recognizable to collectors around the world. On the reverse, the coin displays one of the most iconic designs in Australian coinage, the platypus, a native Australian animal, swimming through stylized water ripples. This design was created by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen, who was responsible for many of Australia's decimal coin motifs. The platypus represents the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife, and its depiction on the 20-cent coin has remained unchanged since decimalization began in 1966. The coin was struck in copper-nickel alloy, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy gives the coin its distinct silvery appearance. But over time, coins from 1980 that have circulated heavily may develop tarnishing, dark spots, or an overall dirty look due to exposure to moisture, air pollution, and handling. Collectors often find that such dirty coins carry a story of everyday Australian life, having passed through countless hands in shops, banks, and businesses over decades. In terms of specifications, the coin weighs 11.31 grams and has a diameter of 28.65 millimeters with a milled edge. These measurements were consistent across the 20-cent series for many years, giving the coin a substantial feel compared to smaller denominations like the 5 or 10-cent pieces. Because of its larger size, the 20-cent coin was one of the more visible and frequently used denominations in circulation, ensuring that the 1980 issue would see significant usage. The 1980 mintage of the 20-cent coin was quite large, as the Royal Australian Mint produced tens of millions of pieces to meet the demands of the growing Australian economy. High mintage figures mean that the 1980 20-cent is not considered rare in general terms. However, condition plays a major role in determining collectability, with uncirculated or proof versions fetching higher interest. On the other hand, dirty or heavily circulated coins hold historical and sentimental value rather than monetary worth. Interestingly, the 1980 Australian 20-cent coin is often collected not just for its date, but also for its broader connection to the late 20th century era in Australia. This was a time of economic changes, cultural growth, and modernization. Everyday coins like the 20-cent piece were part of the daily transactions that shaped Australian society. A dirty coin from this year might remind people of the shops, petrol stations, or sporting events where it once changed hands. Collectors often debate whether to clean dirty coins like the 1980 20-cent or to leave them in their natural state. Numismatic experts generally advise against cleaning, as cleaning can damage the coin's surface and reduce its collectible value. A coin that appears dirty or tarnished is often more desirable to experienced collectors, as it shows originality and authenticity, whereas an artificially clean coin may lose its historical charm. The obverse portrait by Arnold Machin is also historically important, as it was replaced in 1985 by a new portrait designed by Raphael Maklauf. Thus, the 1980 20-cent is part of the long series of coins that bore the Machin portrait. For some collectors, this makes it part of a transitional period in Australian coinage, where the image of the monarch gradually evolved to reflect her maturity over the decades. The platypus on the reverse is more than just a decorative image. It symbolizes Australia's national identity and highlights the nation's commitment to showcasing unique fauna on its currency. The 1980 issue continued this proud tradition, and many Australians fondly remember the platypus coin as a regular part of their pocket change. Even today, the same reverse design remains in circulation, making the 1980 coin both familiar and nostalgic. Another point of interest for collectors is the way these coins age differently depending on the environment they circulated in. Coins found in coastal regions may display salt-related corrosion, while those from inland towns may have different patterns of discoloration. The 1980 20-cent coin, when dirty, may show green, brown, or black surface marks depending on the chemical reactions the metal underwent over time. Some coins from 1980 were also struck as part of mint sets, which are highly collectible. These sets were usually preserved and did not circulate, meaning they avoided the dirt and wear of everyday handling. However, most coins from this year entered circulation, and their worn or dirty condition today is a testament to their role in Australia's daily commerce for over 4 decades. Errors and varieties are another aspect that make the 1980 20-cent coin interesting. While no major minting errors are officially recorded for this year, collectors still search for off-center strikes, die cracks, or unusual misprints. A dirty coin with an error can still be valuable, as error coins are judged more on the uniqueness of the mistake than on cleanliness or condition. For everyday Australians, the 20-cent coin was particularly useful in the 1980s. It could buy snacks, newspapers, or contribute to bus fares. Holding a dirty coin from 1980 can bring back memories of that period, serving as a small-time capsule of the economy and lifestyle of the time. Unlike larger denominations, the 20-cent piece was practical and circulated widely, embedding itself in people's daily lives. Today, collectors seek out 1980 Australian 20-cent coins mainly for completing year sets or as part of their interest in decimal coinage. Dirty coins from this year may not fetch high prices on the numismatic market, but they carry historical worth and personal significance. The true value of such coins often lies in their ability to connect people with the past, telling stories through every scratch and tarnished surface. In conclusion, the 1980 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II remains an important piece of currency history. It's designed by Mackin and Devlin, its copper-nickel composition, and its role in Australian commerce all add to its legacy. While many examples exist, dirty coins from this year are particularly charming because they reflect the real. Next up, the 1977 Australian 20-cent coin holds a unique place in the nation's numismatic history, representing both the durability of modern coinage and the everyday use that leaves many surviving examples in a dirty, tarnished, or heavily circulated condition. Introduced in 1966 with decimalization, the 20-cent coin quickly became one of the most widely used denominations in Australia, and by 1977, it was already well established in commerce. Struck in copper-nickel, the coin weighs 11.3 grams and has a diameter of 28.52 millimeters. Its metal composition, although designed for strength, reacts with air, skin oils, and environmental conditions, causing many 1977 coins to tarnish, discolor, or appear dirty after decades of circulation. Collectors often encounter grimy or dull coins because they were handled daily for small purchases, bus fares, and groceries. The obverse of the coin features a young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Mackin, which was introduced in 1966 and used on Australian coins until 1984. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most iconic images on Commonwealth coinage. By 1977, this portrait had already become familiar to Australians, symbolizing the nation's ties to the crown. The reverse of the coin was designed by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith to the Queen. His design of the platypus swimming through water is one of the most recognizable images in Australian numismatics. The platypus, a uniquely Australian animal, was chosen to emphasize national identity in the new decimal system. The design also features water ripples that give the coin a sense of motion and vitality. In 1977, Australia was undergoing important cultural and political changes. That year marked the silver jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, and although no special 20-cent commemorative was issued, The presence of her portrait on circulating coinage tied into the wider celebrations held across the Commonwealth. The 20-cent coin thus remained a quiet but constant reminder of the monarchy during a period of public reflection. The mintage of the 1977 20-cent coin was substantial, with millions struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. This large production ensured that the coin became a common pocket change item, which explains why so many examples today are worn, scratched, or dirty. While high-grade uncirculated coins exist, they are far less common than circulated pieces. Because of their wide use, most 1977 20-cent coins have lost their original mint luster. Over time, the shiny silver appearance has dulled into gray or darkened tones. Contact with skin, dirt, and other coins and wallets or cash registers accelerates this process. Collectors often describe circulated examples as dirty coins, a natural outcome of decades of handling. From a historical perspective, the coin reflects Australia's shift toward modern consumerism in the 1970s. Inflation was beginning to erode the value of money, and the 20-cent coin had greater purchasing power than it does today. In 1977, 20 cents could still buy a bottle of soft drink or a loaf of bread, making this denomination particularly useful in everyday transactions. The platypus design also carried symbolic weight, reminding Australians of their unique wildlife and environment. In the 1970s, increasing awareness of conservation made the platypus not only a national icon, but also a reminder of environmental responsibility. The choice of such imagery made the 20-cent coin a blend of utility and cultural meaning. While the coin's design remained unchanged from its introduction, its heavy circulation gave each piece its own character. Some 1977 coins today bear scratches, dents, or layers of grime that tell the story of their long service in commerce. Each dirty or worn coin can be viewed as a historical artifact, a silent witness to thousands of transactions over nearly 5 decades. Numismatists often seek uncirculated or proof versions of the 1977 20-cent coin, which were struck in much smaller quantities. These coins retain their bright surfaces and sharp details, providing a contrast to the many dirty circulated examples found in everyday change jars or collections of old coins. Proof sets from that year preserve the coin in pristine condition. Despite its commonness, the 1977 20-cent coin is valued by collectors for its historical context rather than rarity. Its presence in large numbers means circulated coins have little monetary premium, but they still hold sentimental and educational value. For many Australians, these coins are reminders of childhood pocket money or purchases in the late 1970s. The condition of many surviving coins also demonstrates the challenges of coin preservation. Because copper-nickel does not corrode as quickly as pure copper, the coins remain structurally sound, but environmental exposure leads to discoloration. Some coins even show greenish or brownish stains from chemical reactions, contributing to their dirty appearance. In terms of collecting, the 1977 20-cent coin represents an accessible entry point for beginners. Almost everyone can find one in change or among old jars of coins, and while they are rarely worth more than face value in circulated condition, the history behind them makes them fascinating. Clean, uncirculated, or proof coins command greater collector interest. As Australia moved further into the 1980s, later portraits of Queen Elizabeth II replaced the Mackin design, making the 1977 coins part of a closed historical chapter. Today, collectors often look back at the coins of the 1970s as symbols of a simpler economic era, when small change carried more purchasing power and circulated coins were an integral part of daily life. In conclusion, the 1977 Australian 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is not a rare treasure, but an important piece of everyday history. Its wide circulation left most examples dirty and worn, but this very condition reflects its role in society. Whether viewed as a simple piece of pocket change or as a symbol of Australia's numismatic and cultural journey, the coin remains an enduring part of the nation's story. Next up, the Australian 20-cent coin in 1981 holds a fascinating place in numismatic history, not just because of its design and composition, but also due to the role it played in Australia's circulating currency system during the early 1981s. Introduced in 1966 with the decimalization of Australian currency, the 20-cent coin quickly became one of the most common denominations in everyday transactions. By 1981, the coin had already been in circulation for 15 years and was a familiar part of daily life for Australians. The obverse side of the 1981 20-cent coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Mackin. This effigy of the Queen, with the regal tiara, was first introduced in 1966 and continued to be used on Australian coinage until mid-1980s. The Mackin portrait is one of the most recognized royal effigies worldwide, as it was also used on many other Commonwealth coins. On the 1981 20-cent coin, this design appears prominently, symbolizing Australia's close ties with the British monarchy. The reverse of the coin carries the famous platypus design by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith and designer for many Australian coins of the decimal era. The platypus is a uniquely Australian animal, chosen to represent the country's rich wildlife and natural heritage. The design shows the platypus swimming gracefully in water, surrounded by flowing ripples. This artistic choice highlights the national identity and gives the coin a distinctive appeal, making it instantly recognizable among other world coins. In terms of composition, the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin was struck in copper nickel, consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. The coin weighs 11.3 grams, has a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, and a milled edge. Its durability made it suitable for heavy circulation, which explains why so many coins from this year survive today, although often in dirty or heavily worn condition from decades of use. One particularly interesting fact about the 1981 issue is that it was struck at multiple mints, including the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and even overseas mints such as Canada and Wales to meet the high demand for circulating coinage. This international production has made the 1981 20-cent coin notable among collectors, as subtle differences exist between the various mint strikes, adding to its historical and numismatic significance. Circulation coins like the 1981 20-cent were used daily in transactions for groceries, petrol, and other household needs. Over time, many of these coins became tarnished, stained, or dirty, as collectors often describe them. This natural wear and discoloration is a direct result of decades of handling, exposure to the environment, and interaction with other metals. While pristine uncirculated examples exist, most coins from this year show signs of heavy use, making clean, high-grade versions much harder to find. For collectors, the 1981 20-cent coin is often an entry point into Australian decimal coinage. Its large mintage means it is widely available, yet certain varieties and mint marks can command interest. Some coins display minor errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubling, which are especially prized among error collectors. Dirty or heavily worn coins, while not particularly valuable, tell a different story. They embody the everyday history of Australia's economy and the countless hands through which they passed. The 1981 20-cent coin also reflects a time of economic and social change in Australia. The early 1980s saw a rising inflation, shifts in global trade, and increasing cultural diversity. Coins in circulation during this era carry the weight of these transitions, acting as small metal witnesses to Australia's development. A coin that seems common today was, in its time, a vital tool of commerce, shaping the daily lives of millions. Numismatists often point out that coins like the 1981 20-cent hold more value as historical artifacts than as monetary instruments. Their designs were carefully chosen to reflect Australia's national pride, and their longevity ensures that they remain part of the collective memory. Even dirty or well-worn examples have a certain charm, as they reflect authenticity and connection to the past. The platypus on the reverse is especially symbolic because of its uniqueness. The animal itself is a marvel of evolution. A mammal that lays eggs, has a duck-like bill, and spends much of its life in water. Just as the platypus confounded early European scientists, the coin serves as a reminder of Australia's distinct place in the world. For collectors, this makes the 20-cent coin not just currency, but a cultural emblem. Over the decades, many Australians may not have paid much attention to the design on the coins in their pockets, but for numismatists, each year's issue carries significance. The 1981 20-cent, although produced in large numbers, is part of a long tradition of coinage artistry in Australia. Its simple beauty lies in its consistency, a design that has remained largely unchanged for decades, tying generations together. Another aspect worth noting is that dirty or corroded coins often serve as educational tools for collectors. They demonstrate how metals react to environmental conditions, how storage methods affect preservation, and why proper coin care is essential. The 1981 issue, commonly found in such condition, offers new collectors a first-hand look at these lessons. From a market perspective, circulated 1981 20-cent coins generally hold only face value, unless they are in exceptional condition or display unique errors. Uncirculated examples, especially those from mint sets or with confirmed minting variations, can fetch a premium among dedicated collectors. However, the historical importance of this coin often outweighs its financial value. In coin collecting circles, discussions about the 1981 20-cent often revolve around its widespread availability and its place in the broader series of decimal coinage. It serves as a reminder that not all coins need to be rare or expensive to be significant. Collectors often keep them as part of complete date sets or as examples of different mint origins. Today, more than 40 years after its issue, the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin continues to circulate, though many are heavily worn. Dirty coins from this year may not shine like mint specimens, but they carry the fingerprint of history. They embody decades of daily life in Australia, from pocket change in markets to coins jingling in purses and cash registers. Ultimately, the 1981 20-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is more than just a piece of metal. It is a chapter in Australia's numismatic journey, a symbol of national identity through its platypus design, and a reminder of the endurance of coinage, an era increasingly dominated by digital payments. Whether found in pristine condition or as a dirty, well-worn survivor, this coin remains a treasured artifact of its time. Next up, the 1969 Australian 20-cent coin stands as a significant piece of numismatic history, representing both the cultural identity of Australia and the ongoing reign of Queen Elizabeth II. First introduced in 1966, the 20-cent coin became part of Australia's new decimal currency system, replacing the old shillings and pence. By 1969, the coin was already well established in circulation, and millions of Australians carried it daily in their pockets and purses. This year's issue reflects the mid-period of Australia's transition to decimal currency, which modernized trade and simplified financial transactions across the country. On the obverse side of the coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II is featured. The 1969 version used the Arnold Mackin effigy, a refined and regal depiction of the Queen that was widely used across Commonwealth coinage during the 1960s and 1970s. This portrait shows the Queen wearing a tiara, looking graceful and dignified. Her image was not merely symbolic. It reinforced Australia's ties to the British Crown and emphasized the nation's heritage as a member of the Commonwealth. Collectors often regard this portrait as one of the most elegant representations of Queen Elizabeth II on Australian coins. The reverse side of the 1969 20-cent coin features a design that has become iconic in Australian numismatics. The platypus, designed by Stuart Devlin, the master of the Royal Mint. The platypus symbolizes Australia's unique and diverse wildlife. The image captures a platypus swimming underwater, surrounded by curved lines that represent movement in water. This artistic touch gave the coin a distinct national identity, ensuring that it was not just currency, but also a piece of cultural art that showcased Australia's natural heritage. The 20-cent coin was made of copper nickel, with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy was chosen for its durability, resistance to wear, and silvery appearance. Weighing 11.3 grams and measuring 28.65 millimeters in diameter, the coin was larger than many of the other denominations in circulation, giving it a significant physical presence. Its reeded edge provided both a tactile distinction and protection against coin clipping, an old practice of shaving off small amounts of metal from the edges. In 1969, the 20-cent coin was minted in large quantities, primarily at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. These coins were struck to meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy and a society that was fully embracing decimal currency just 3 years after its introduction. While millions were minted, the condition of these coins today greatly affects their value. Circulated coins often appear dirty or tarnished, as copper-nickel alloys tend to lose their original shine with exposure to air, moisture, and handling. The term dirty coins often refers to circulated 1969 20-cent pieces that have seen decades of use. Over the years, dirt, oils from human skin, and environmental exposure can dull the coin surfaces. Collectors generally prefer clean, uncirculated examples, but circulated and dirty coins still hold historical charm. Each scratch, mark, and tarnish tells a story of the thousands of hands the coin passed through, from small shops and banks to family purchases and everyday life in 1960s and 1970s Australia. For numismatists, the 1969 20-cent coin is not especially rare in circulated condition, but its appeal lies in its history and design. Uncirculated examples, particularly those kept in mint sets, are much more desirable. Coins with exceptional luster and minimal marks can fetch higher values in the collector's market. Proof versions, which were struck with special dies for collectors, also exist and are treasured for their mirror-like surfaces and crisp detail. When examining dirty or circulated examples of the 1969 20-cent coin, collectors look for errors or varieties. Like many coins from this period, minting errors such as die cracks, off-center strikes, or double strikes can occur. These unusual variants can elevate the value of an otherwise common coin, sometimes making them highly sought after by enthusiasts who specialize in error coins. Even dirty coins with significant errors can command impressive prices in auctions. The coin's presence in circulation during 1969 also coincided with an era of great cultural and political change in Australia. The late 1960s were marked by shifts in society, with new movements in art, music, and civil rights shaping the nation's identity. Holding a coin from 1969 is like holding a piece of that transformative decade, as it silently witnessed transactions during times of social progress and global change. The fact that the coin features a platypus is also significant from a cultural perspective. At a time when Australia was seeking to define itself as distinct from Britain while still retaining Commonwealth ties, showcasing unique wildlife on coins emphasized national pride. The platypus, a strange yet beloved creature found only in Australia, symbolized uniqueness and the natural wonders of the land. This reinforced a growing sense of national identity that coins like the 1969 20-cent helped to promote. Dirty 1969 coins often show heavy signs of circulation, such as darkened surfaces, scratches, and loss of fine details. However, many collectors argue that these imperfections add character. Unlike polished or clean coins, which can lose value if improperly handled, naturally aged coins with authentic patina are respected in the numismatic community. This natural toning or dirt accumulation provides authenticity, reminding us that these coins were once an active part of everyday Australian life. As time has passed, the 1969 20-cent coin has become increasingly collectible. While it may not carry the rarity of certain low mintage years, it is a must-have for anyone building a complete Australian decimal coin collection. Collectors often seek to own each year the 20-cent coin, and 1969 remains an important part of that timeline. Its value continues to rise steadily in higher grades, especially as pristine examples become scarcer. The durability of copper-nickel ensured that these coins survived decades of circulation, but also meant they picked up considerable dirt and wear. Many examples that surface today have lost their original mint shine and carry heavy handling marks. This does not diminish their historical significance, as they are tangible relics of Australia's early decimal era. For many Australians, these coins evoke nostalgia, bringing back memories of the shops, wages, and prices of the late 1960s. Interestingly, while many coins were produced in 1969, finding one in top condition is much harder than it might appear. Dirty and circulated coins are plentiful, but coins with sharp details and unblemished fields are much rarer. Collectors and investors often seek out these high-quality coins for their collections, knowing that over time they will only become more valuable as dirty examples continue to dominate circulation. The 1969 20-cent coin remains a symbol of Australia's numismatic journey, blending tradition with innovation. Featuring Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on one side and a uniquely Australian animal on the other, it represents both Commonwealth heritage and national pride. Its dirty, circulated forms remind us of its everyday utility, while pristine examples showcase the artistry and craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint.